Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Pardon Our Picks. I am your host, Sam. Alongside me, of course, is our esteemed co-host, Tarik. How you doing tonight?
Oh, all right, I'm doing pretty well. How about you, Sam?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. We got another week in the books, and it looks like COVID is striking its ugly head again, and in the same place as last week, it seems. The
It seems
Titans
like it.
can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, I know Tennessee's in the South and stuff like that. Maybe that's got something to do with it. When I was down there vacation, they really didn't seem to care. You had to wear a mask inside, but that was about it. No one cared at any other point. So maybe that has something to do with it, or maybe they just need better procedures for the facility. I don't know if they're doing. I know there's no NFL bubble like they had. The NHL had a bubble, and you
Mhm.
had to be back in quarantine and speed up tests and everything else. Like there's one guy left, had a baby. His wife had a baby. He left for the birth as he should, and then came back in. He had to like quarantine for like a week and test and everything else. So I don't know if we need to do that or what needs to happen there.
Well, funny, baseball was able to manage it at least without the bubble, but NHL and NBA did an amazing job with theirs because they.
Absolutely.
But baseball, they had the initial issues with the Miami Marlins and I think it was the Philadelphia. It might have been this Cardinals,
Yeah,
but
I remember the Miami because the Orioles had to reschedule.
yeah, and I mean they. But that was the last you heard of it. There weren't any other issues.
Yeah, it was nothing else.
What I think happened is the players took it seriously. And unfortunately, the NFL, I don't think they're taking it seriously. I don't think the players are taking it seriously. And I think the league is taking it seriously in that they're threatening that they're going to start making people forfeit games if they continue to do this. So,
So you got an automatic win if you don't. Wow.
yes. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if they start straightening up and flying right. Hopefully, once this part passes, there won't be any other issues.
Hopefully.
Yeah. All right. So last week we did pretty good. It wasn't great. We did pretty good. Didn't look like it was going to be too good early in the day, but
No.
we, we pulled it out, and each of us picked up a 10-5 week. So the current standings are as such. I am at 42-21, and you are nipping at my heels at
I thought you
39
were
and
only two ahead of me.
no, I'm three ahead of you.
I see that now, but I thought it was two.
Yeah, that's okay though, because anything can happen any given week, right?
Yep. Yeah, we had a
All right.
couple upsets, so
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. The Cardinals losing last week, of course, bit of an upset.
hmm
We had who else lost last week? Uh, the Eagles won last week. That's right. They beat the.
yeah,
I think it was the Rams, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I'd have to check on that. Giant. No, Rams beat the Giants.
Oh,
Um,
but the Eagles did beat somebody. The 49ers. That's what
I'm
it was.
looking. I'm looking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
well,
beat.
they don't have their quarterback. No, no, that's this week. Stop. How many? 1, 3, 4. Yeah, Cardinals lost to the Panthers. Rams beat the Giants. Eagles beat the 49ers. Yep, 25-20.
And then, of course, the Cowboys lost at home in what was it, a crazy, crazy game to the
Oh, that's
Browns.
such a crazy game.
Yes,
And then
down
you
by
had
28 in the fourth quarter. Came back to a touchdown difference. All they had to do was stop Cleveland, and on the first play from scrimmage, Cleveland runs it 50 yards for a touchdown, puts the game away. It was a heartbreaker for me,
yeah.
but
I'm sure this isn't the first time this year that the Cowboys have done something like that. I think there's
yes,
been at least two other games I can think of off the top of my head where they're coming back and then they blow it right at the end.
yeah, it's crazy the way that they played their games. I mean, every single one of the games close. They're 1-3 for a reason. Defense is needed. Me and you would be better on that defense right now.
And I'm not a defensive guy. I'm either quarterback or wide receiver. So that's saying something.
Yeah.
But the
All right.
big shock for me was Denver won Thursday night.
Yes.
And I want to say an ugly game, but the game itself wasn't bad. It was actually much more exciting than I was expecting it to be. Um, Ripien did a good job, but like the Jets just played ugly. Like just taking late hits. Like the second half was just fraught with penalties and cheap hits, and it looked like what is it? What's the movie? It's a remake of a thing with
Longest
Burt,
yard.
Longest Yard, where they're just like digging them into the dirt. Hello? I lost.
Apologies, I had to mute you for just a moment. The dog started barking. So,
I thought you had a
um,
soundboard there and you were playing a dog noise on purpose.
no, no. Um, but yeah, it was a crazy week last week. So what we got here. Let's move on. Let's jump right into it. Tarek's game of the week.
All right. So this was harder than other weeks. This week is not a preferable week for matchups. There's nothing really exciting out there. We don't have like the top two teams of like the Ravens and the Chiefs. We don't really have anything like that. So what I narrowed it down to was okay, who's got a good record, who's playing well. So I've got Buffalo at Tennessee as they're the only lossless teams playing each other.
Yes,
So
they are.
someone's going to lose this week or they might tie. I don't think we're going to get that lucky again, but they could.
Not with these teams, I don't think.
No.
Yeah. Buffalo's defense been pretty good. Tennessee Titans, I don't think they've opened up their facilities yet. So
No, I don't think so. And this might be interesting. So the game of the week may be for nothing.
well, I mean, it's still a 4-0 versus 3-0, so we'll see what happens.
Yep. So I've got the Titans winning, even though the Bills are my sleeper team. I think the Tennessee at home, if they can get everything, they haven't practiced, but they're at home. And I think with their offense, I don't know that the Bills can stop Henry and that kind of offensive weapon. So I'm going with Tennessee.
This week we have two really good defensive teams going against each other: the Buffalo Bills, Tennessee Titans. Buffalo's offense has been impressive the past couple of weeks, actually, since the beginning of the season. Except for that Jets game wasn't great, but they found ways to win. They came back and beat the Rams um, after being down a couple weeks last week. Uh, I I think this layoff for the Tennessee Titans might be an issue, considering they might not get back to their facilities for the next couple days anyway. So I got Buffalo in this one, but
Yeah.
I think it's just because of the COVID issues.
Yeah, I actually didn't bring that in. My pick's already in, so I can't really change it. Once you mention that, I'm like, oh no, I picked the wrong team. But maybe I'll get lucky and I'll close that gap of our
We've
weekly
seen
pick.
crazier things.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move on to the Thursday night game. The Tampa Bay Tom Brady's against the Chicago Bears.
Yep. So this should be a good game. Bears have been doing fairly well. Tom Brady is not quite what he was in New England, but he's doing fairly well, better than I thought he would. Um, in this situation, being on a new team, he's showing he's better than I used to give him credit for. I still don't think he's worthy of all the praise that he gets, though I'm sure most people watching and listening to us aren't going to disagree with me here.
Right.
But going with that, Chicago is usually fairly defensive heavy, but I think there's Tom Brady's getting his weapons in there. He's figuring it out. He's starting to hit his stride. I think Tampa Bay is going to win this.
Tampa Bay with the crazy win over the Chicago Chargers last week. I mean, it was a back and forth game for a while.
Definitely.
The Bears getting pretty well shellacked last week against the defense-heavy Indianapolis Colts, and that's weird to say because Indianapolis has never really been known for their
Yeah.
defense, but they have been impressive this year. And of course, Nick Foles is in for the Bears. I got Tampa Bay in this one, and I think the Bears will score some points, but it isn't going to be close. All right. Now, speaking of those Indianapolis Colts, we have the Indianapolis Colts traveling to the Cleveland Browns.
Yep. So looking at this, Browns have been your sleeper team, as we discussed in previous videos. Looking better than we've seen them the entire time I've been watching football. But the Colts are doing better than they've done the last couple of years since, Luck didn't play last year. So they're looking better since Luck came in. So looking at this, the defense, and they're starting to fire a little bit, though, again, I think Philip Rivers is a tad overrated. I'm going with Indy.
Indianapolis with the impressive defensive victory last week. Good offense as well, somewhat, against Chicago, who's got a pretty good defense themselves. The Browns putting up offensive numbers like they haven't seen in 50 years. It's going to be a very interesting game. I see Indianapolis going in there. It's going to be real close. I got the Browns in this one at home to go 4-1 and to blow everyone's minds.
My mind will be blown for sure, but if Indy wins, it bridges that gap just a little bit.
Indeed, it does. I think they're going to compress the field a little bit. I think that's Rivers' weakness is he has to throw more to the middle of the field, and the Browns are going to focus on that. He can't throw to the outsides.
No.
So, all right, let's move on to the Las Vegas Raiders against the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, so this is a good division game, and it's the best matchup, I think, one of the better matchups in this division. This is the division I root for as a Denver Broncos fan. And I know you're shocked.
I know.
The Broncos shirt. But Raiders 2-2, I don't think is quite a fair record. They've played a little bit better than that. Just things haven't gone in their favor. I think Kansas City's going to win this. I think it's going to go back and forth, but I think they're going to extend the margin. Probably maybe a little later in the game. They'll extend it out, but I think it'll be a little bit of a back and forth up to like maybe the fourth quarter before they extend it out. So I think Kansas City's going to win this.
Kind of like they did against the whoever they played. I can't even remember who they played last week. It's been a long day for me. But Kansas City, oh, that's right. They played New England last week, which was surprising, given they didn't have Cam Newton last week. It was Brian Hoyer in. And they kept it a pretty good game up until towards the end of the game when Kansas City finally pulled away with those 2 touchdowns. The Vegas Raiders have been pretty good. They're not great in my book, but they're pretty good. It should be, I think it's going to be a close game, but I do see Kansas City pulling it out at home.
Yep.
All right. Well, speaking of that, those Denver Broncos you were talking about, they're playing the Patriots this week.
Yep. So I don't know if they're going to have Cam Newton or who they're going to New England starting this week, but it looks like Denver is leaning towards getting Locke back in. He's starting. I believe he started practice again this week. I don't know if they're going to rush him in or if they're going to let Ripien take another snap this Sunday, but he might be in as a backup or something that they haven't decided yet. That is a good deciding factor. I don't think it's enough to overcome New England and Bill Belichick's just schemes and puzzle placement. I think New England's going to win this, but I think the Denver Broncos, the players are starting to gel. They're starting to come in. They're getting used to. Judy finally got a touchdown. So I think it's still going to lean towards New England. I think they're still going to win, but I think the Broncos are getting closer to who they're supposed to be, or closer to who they can be without a bunch of their starting people, because without Von Miller, without Philip Lindsay, without a bunch of people on their defense, other people on their defense, they're just not who everyone thought they were going to be coming into this year.
Uh, New England, yeah, we don't know whether Cam's going to be back by then. I think he will, only because, I mean, in baseball, it didn't take him very long to get back to the field. I think his COVID issues will pass by the time the game starts. But you're right. Bill Belichick is able to dial up all kinds of interesting schemes and stuff like that, which is why I think that they had Kansas City so tight last week.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos, if they do have Locke back, stand a chance.
Yeah.
But without him, they don't.
No.
I got no interest in this one. All right, and we move on to the no longer winless Bengals going up against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep. So I don't think this is really going to be close. I think the Ravens are just going to kind of come out and dominate this. It's at home, where they've always thrived, and they're really thriving this year. They're even if they didn't beat Kansas City, Baltimore's still one of the top teams in the league right now. Lamar is constantly proving his worth. I think Baltimore's going to dominate this game.
I think you're pretty close to the mark there. I think the Bengals will put up some points.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore's going to win this one in my book without a shadow of a doubt. But last week the Bengals, Joe Mixon finally figured out where he was at. He finally figured out where Joe Mixon was at. They started throwing the ball, started running the ball. He started getting some points. I think that's the key to the Bengals offense is to go through Mixon, but they haven't had a chance to do that, and they're not going to be able to really do it this week either.
They're not going to be able to. The Ravens defense is not going to allow that to happen. So
yeah, they're going to be behind the 8 ball real quick against the Ravens, a tough Ravens team. So we got Baltimore on this one. And we're pretty much locking that one in.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to our quick hitters. We're going to run through these real quick. Let's start with the Pennsylvania Bowl.
Pennsylvania Bowl. I'm going with Pittsburgh on this. It's not even really a question.
I, too, am going Pittsburgh. The Eagles, just terrible. The 2-2 Arizona Cardinals against the New York Jets.
Despite the loss with the Cardinals last week, I still think they're going to beat the Jets.
I also have Arizona bouncing back, the Jets to stay grounded.
Yeah, even with Flacco taking the helm.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, they announced he's starting on Sunday.
Oh, God. All right. The Carolina Bridgewaters against the wingless Falcons.
Yeah. I'm going with Panthers on this.
I am going Falcons to finally get their first win on this.
Okay.
All right. The Los Angeles Rams. Close loss against Buffalo last week. Going against the Washington football team, who's starting their backup quarterback this week.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to change a thing. I'm going with the Rams.
I'm going with the Rams too. Buffalo's not playing, thank God. They have played.
I don't. You said Buffalo, and my brain went. Yeah.
The Jaguars at the Houston Texans.
Yeah. So this is one of the lower games of the week. I'm going with Jacksonville.
I'm going with Houston in this one. They just fired their head coach. I think at least the coordinators know what they're doing. So
yeah, I don't know that's going to be enough to change it. I think it may help things in the long run. I don't think it's going to help it for this week.
We'll see what happens.
No.
The Dolphins at the 49ers. Dolphins, pretty impressive last week against Seattle.
I don't think they're going to be impressive enough to beat the 49ers, especially it looks like Garoppolo is coming back. So if they have their quarterback, I think it's going to make all the difference for San Francisco.
Garoppolo's coming back. I think Mossert might also be back.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be good for them. I have San Francisco as well. And now on to the disappointing NFC East, the New York Giants against my Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, with the same record as my Denver Broncos. So I'm going for the Dallas this week. It's Cowboys at home. I think they're better than the Giants. So
Cowboys were at home last week. They lost to Cleveland. Giants are a much worse team than Cleveland. I got Dallas in this one, finally getting a second win.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football, the now no longer winless Vikings against the 4-0 Seahawks.
Yeah, going into Seattle at home, I'm going with Seattle.
Normally it's an issue going into Seattle, but not this week. Seattle's just going to roll with it anyway. They don't need the 12th man. And finally, the Monday Night Football game, the impressive Herberts against the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I'm going with Saints at home.
As impressive as Herbert has been in his debut, and I really don't think they should put Tyrod back in. I got the Saints in this one.
Yep.
All right, that's it for this week, folks. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you. If you think we did wrong, go ahead and put it in the comments. Put your picks in the comments. Show us what you got. Until then, next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course,
Yep.
this video is brought to you by Morningwood Crafter, inspired by design, crafted by hand. So, thank you very much for joining us. I'm your host, Sam.
I'm your co-host, Tarik.
And you have a great football week.
See you guys.